We've heard some optimism tonight. Karl, you're not, though. You are not. I was reading your blog. Give us a little hint here. Give us a teaser.
Well, my basic viewpoint is that when it comes down to whether or not you're going to have profits, you have to look at the income statement first. And when you look at revenues, what you see isn't bullish at all. We've got Harley-Davidson, for example, 30% down on shipments. We have the automakers all going from 14 million units to about 10 million units a year. That's about a 30% decrease. We had RevPAR from Marriott down about 19%. We had GE's revenue down 17, 18%. And the same story keeps getting told. We're in the high teens, low 20s, 30% decrease on revenue. What you're seeing is profits from operating efficiency. And how do you get operating efficiency? You offshore and you fire people. That's great for the bottom line, but it isn't any good for America on whole.
All right, it's a fair point. Would you be a seller in the stock market, by the way, just real quick?
I think it's time to get very short. This rally is absolutely unsustainable and unsupportable on the fundamentals.
Bill?
I think everyone in America should see this information. And I think you should call your congressmen, you should call your senators and ask them, with a rigged market like this, obviously blatantly rigged, why should anyone be investing in the stock market? I'm your ticker guy, and that's my view.
From a stock market standpoint, there's still more cash on the sidelines relative to Wilshire 5000 and relative to S&P capitalization than there was at the bottom in 74 and the bottom in 82, even though we've already come up quite a ways off the original bottom. So
it can go to bonds, it can go overseas.
No,
it doesn't have to go in equities.
Hang on, Karl. Karl, would you sell GE? Would you sell banks? Would you short the S&P itself right now, Karl?
GE's too late to sell. They're already in the toilet. As far as being short the S&P, yes, I shorted it hard at the close today.
Oh, you did,
and
at the close. Right.
And the reason is this. You have a credit recession that was caused by too much debt being throughout the economy, in banks, in consumers, in businesses, everywhere. Consumers have managed to take $60 billion out of a $1 trillion between secured and unsecured debt, not including mortgages, off their balance sheet since the peak, which was just a few months ago. That's less than 6%, and you're telling me that's enough deleveraging for the consumer? Not a chance,
Would you go only if that was the problem in the first place?
What
but if that wasn't the problem, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead.
How did we go bankrupt? How did we have all these bankruptcies in the first place?
If that was not the problem in the first place, if bad Fed policy was the problem in the first place, then we don't need to deleverage $1 trillion. We just need to let the liquidity do its job.
Jerry, 13% credit card delinquencies.
Let the reset happen. No one was borrowing money in the last 12 months as we went into a coma. Nobody borrowed any money in October, November, December last year. So if you're comparing an economy where nobody borrowed money one year and nobody borrowed money the next year, what you're going to have is somebody buying more than the year before. It's a much more favorable economy without the leverage, without the borrowing, and the strong companies end up with the business from the people.
Bill, let me ask.
You know, when Alan Greenspan was pumping all that liquidity after the tech crash, I thought it was a grand idea. He went into housing. Oh, gee, who could have figured? Well, you know, now it's blown up. If I was dumb enough to admit that I was to blame.
After a week like this, okay, this is a great week. And as I said at the opening of the program, let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Stocks were bullish. America was bullish this week. It's wonderful stuff. After a week like this, an investor has, what, two choices here? Put more chips in or take some chips off the table. What do you recommend?
Well, first of all, 80% of the individuals are not participating. They're out. So all
what does that mean? What does that mean? They're in cash on the sidelines?
The market is completely dominated by professionals right now, and many of those professionals are both long and short.
The market's dominated by computers right now.
That's right, and the public won't come back in until we get that next leg up of 30 or 35%.
Hey, Jerry,
what if you just saw it?
All right, good point. Jerry Boyer on the way out. President Obama gave really a frenetic press conference this afternoon, desperately trying to rescue the health care plan, which is sinking. Now, Jerry, I have this peculiar view. That health care plan, which is one of the worst pieces of policy on taxes and spending and borrowing and central planning, the public hates it, Jerry. If it goes down to defeat, this could be extremely bullish.
Very bullish. And if it doesn't go, as long as that's hanging out there, we are going to have high unemployment. No one will hire in the environment where that threat is hanging out there like the sword of Damocles.
All right, but if it goes down, it's one of these litmus test turning point things. From the standpoint of politics and the economy, I'm trying to draw them together.
Jobs boom. Then jobs will boom if that goes down.
And we're going to have Dow 12,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jerry Boyer, thank you. Bill Smith, thank you. Karl Denninger, thank you. You're right.
Then the obvious question I have for everyone goes back to the one that I've asked dozens of times before. Where are the cops? Why is it that this sort of crap is still going on?